Ever wonder how our planet, which has thrived for billions of years, is now facing the threat of climate change? Let's delve into the enigma that is climate change. It may sound like a complex scientific term, but it's actually quite simple when broken down. Picture this: our planet Earth is like a giant greenhouse. We have the sun sending in heat and light, and our atmosphere acting like the glass walls of the greenhouse, trapping some of that warmth to sustain life. This is a natural and necessary process, but the balance is delicate. Now imagine if the glass walls of that greenhouse got thicker, more heat would be trapped, right? That's essentially what's happening with climate change. Our planet's glass walls or atmosphere are becoming denser, holding in more heat than they should. Over the past century, we've seen a steady rise in the Earth's average temperature. This might not seem like much, but even small changes can have huge impacts on our global climate. We're talking about more intense heat waves, longer drought periods, and more frequent and severe storms. These are not just guesses or predictions, they're happening right now, and they're all signs that our climate is changing. But let's clarify something. When we talk about climate change, we're not talking about the weather. Weather is what we experience day to day. It's unpredictable and varies from place to place. Climate, on the other hand, is the long-term pattern of weather in a specific region or the planet as a whole. So when we say the climate is changing, we mean that these long-term weather patterns are shifting. This change is not a natural fluctuation. It's not a cycle that the Earth goes through every few centuries. It's a direct result of human actions, of our growing industries and expanding cities. So it's clear that climate change is real and happening now, but what's causing it? What if I told you, we humans are the primary drivers of climate change? That's right. Our everyday activities, directly or indirectly, contribute to the warming of the planet. Let's delve into the three main culprits: the burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrialization. First up, the burning of fossil fuels. We burn coal, oil, and gas for energy to power our homes, cars, and industries. This combustion process releases carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. These gases trap heat from the sun, creating a blanket effect that warms the Earth. It's like leaving the heating on during a sweltering summer day. Then we have deforestation. Trees are natural carbon sinks. They absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and release oxygen, creating a balanced and healthy environment. But when we clear these forests for agriculture, timber, or urbanization, we're not just losing these fantastic carbon capturers, we're also releasing the stored carbon back into the atmosphere, further exacerbating the greenhouse effect. Lastly, let's talk about industrialization. Industries, particularly in developing countries, often rely on outdated, inefficient technologies that emit a significant amount of greenhouse gases. Additionally, the production and disposal of goods, from your favorite pair of jeans to the smartphone in your pocket, all contribute to the emission of greenhouse gases. Now you might be thinking, but what about natural causes? Yes, natural phenomena like volcanic eruptions and solar radiation do contribute to climate change. However, scientific research has shown that the rate and extent of current climate change far exceed what can be attributed to natural causes alone. In essence, we, through our burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrialization, have increased the levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. We've thickened the blanket, and the Earth is overheating. These human-induced activities have set off a chain reaction, leading to some alarming effects. So what are these effects and how do they impact our lives? Well, that's a topic for our next scene. Stay tuned. So what happens when we disrupt the planet's natural balance? The consequences are far-reaching. When we talk about climate change, we're essentially talking about a world out of balance. The Earth has a natural equilibrium, a fine-tuned dance of elements that keep our planet habitable. But as we've seen in the previous scenes, human activities are disrupting this delicate balance. One of the most immediate and tangible effects of climate change is rising global temperatures. The last 5 years have been the hottest on record, and the trend shows no signs of slowing down. This isn't just about needing to crank up the air conditioning or facing hotter summers. Rising temperatures have ripple effects that reach every corner of the globe. For instance, consider our planet's polar ice caps. These vast frozen expanses reflect sunlight back into space, helping to cool the Earth. But as temperatures rise, these ice caps are melting at an alarming rate. This not only contributes to rising sea levels but also means less sunlight is reflected back into space, further heating our planet in a vicious cycle. Rising sea levels present another major concern. As the polar ice melts and warmer ocean temperatures cause water to expand, sea levels around the world are rising. This threatens coastal communities, many of which are seeing more frequent and more destructive flooding. Entire island nations face the very real possibility of being swallowed by the sea this century. Now, let's talk about weather. You've probably noticed that extreme weather events like hurricanes, droughts, and heat waves seem to be happening more frequently. This is no coincidence. As our planet heats up, our weather becomes more unpredictable and more extreme. This presents a huge challenge to communities worldwide, particularly those with fewer resources to respond to these disasters. The impact of climate change isn't just felt in our weather patterns, though. It's also having a profound effect on the world's ecosystems. From coral reefs bleaching due to warmer ocean temperatures to forest habitats shrinking as climates change, wildlife is struggling to adapt fast enough. This loss of biodiversity is not just a tragedy in its own right. It also threatens the stability of ecosystems that humans rely on for food, water, and other resources. Finally, let's consider the human cost. Climate change isn't just an environmental issue, it's a humanitarian one. Droughts threaten crop yields, exacerbating food shortages in vulnerable regions. Rising sea levels displace coastal communities, creating climate refugees. And extreme weather events can cause devastating damage, leading to loss of life and livelihoods. These effects are catastrophic, but it's not too late to make a difference. Our actions now can help mitigate these impacts and steer us towards a more sustainable future. But we must act swiftly and decisively. The consequences of inaction are too great to ignore. Remember, the power to combat climate change lies in our hands. We often think that the issue of climate change is so large and overwhelming that we, as individuals, can't possibly make a difference. But that's not true. Each one of us, with our daily choices and behaviors, contributes to the carbon footprint of our planet. And that means each one of us can help reduce it. Let's start with energy consumption. Did you know that by simply turning off the lights when you leave a room, you can significantly reduce your energy use? And what about that standby mode on your devices? It's a notorious energy vampire. Turning off your devices completely, instead of leaving them on standby, can also make a big difference. Now let's talk about recycling. It's not just about separating your waste, it's about reducing and reusing. Think before you buy. Do you really need that new gadget? Or could you make do with what you already have? And when you do need to buy, try to choose products with less packaging, or better yet, no packaging at all. Supporting renewable energy is another vital step. If you have the means, consider investing in solar panels for your home. If that's not an option, look into energy providers in your area that offer renewable energy options. By choosing to power your home with renewable energy, you're not just reducing your own carbon footprint, you're also supporting the growth of the renewable energy sector. Finally, let's not forget about our diets. The food we eat, and how it's produced, can have a huge impact on our carbon footprint. By eating less meat and more plant-based foods, you can significantly reduce your carbon emissions. So you see, each of us has a role to play in combating climate change. Our actions, no matter how small, can add up to make a big difference. Every action counts, no matter how small. It's time to take a stand, for our planet, for our future. Climate change is a daunting challenge, but together, we can rise to meet it. We've delved into the intricate web of factors driving this global predicament. From the relentless burning of fossil fuels to the rampant deforestation, we've seen how our actions have triggered a domino effect, upsetting the delicate balance of our planet. We've also painted a vivid picture of the consequences: rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and the threat to biodiversity. It's a grim reality, but not an inevitable one. Remember, your contribution matters. Whether it's making a conscious effort to reduce, reuse, recycle, or advocating for greener policies in your community, every step counts. This is not just about saving the Earth for future generations, but also about preserving the quality of life for all species that call it home. The time to act is not tomorrow, next week, or next year. The time is now. So, what will you do today to ensure a healthier planet for tomorrow?